love lives here.
All right. So, not too long ago, I received, a friend slid into my DMs. Well, you laughed. All right. Somebody contacted me via Facebook and personal messenger, okay? And it's a friend of mine. And it was interesting. They don't belong to our congregation or our faith or anything like that. But it was interesting because they wrote, how is there a God that deals so much doo-doo? They didn't use the word doo-doo. But how is there a God that delivers so much doo-doo on one family over and over and over again? And if there is such a God, if there even is a God, then he is cruel. And she went on to explain what this particular family has been experiencing. And indeed, momentito. Okay. And indeed, this family has had a lot of illness and challenges in their lives. Terminal illness, critical illness in their lives. And so my friend was like, how is this possible? How is this possible that one family has had so much and they continue just to be given so much to have to deal with? How is it possible that there is a God, and if there is a God, then that God has to be cruel? Because why would a God of love, a God of mercy, be pouring all this on? Sound familiar? Sounds kind of like Job, right? Why? Why is this happening? I don't know that there is a God anymore. I still have faith, I still have trust, but God is an unjust God. This is what Job is basically saying. And his friends are saying, give that up, just forget about that, right? Give it up, give it up. But Job continues to have faith, but he also believes now that God is unjust. And even when Job's finances and health are restored, he's still like, I don't know about this. I don't know why it happened. I don't know, right? So there is this belief then that God is unjust and God is cruel, or the universe is testing me, right? Or, God doesn't give us more than we can handle. All these things sound familiar to you? And what do we think about that? You don't think anything about it. I don't know what to think about it, all right? Some of you think that that's a pile of doo-doo. Yes. Right on, Eugene. Right? You see, my beloveds, suffering is not God ordained. God did not place us here to be little pawns in some cosmic chess game. The God that we believe in is not Zeus coming down and diddling with the people, having a good time, tricking them, playing, making their lives difficult. Our God is not the God that is in Job, who has an adversary, and they're trying to decide, hey, let's see what we can do to this guy. Test his faith. Test his ideas. Right? We don't believe in this kind of a God. What do we believe? We believe that God is good all the time. Am I correct? And if God is good all the time, then God must be for us. The universe must be for us. It can't be against us. Because if we are made in the image and likeness of perfection, we are made in the image and likeness of perfection, then we have to be good all the time. But what about evil? What about those naughty things? When we forget who we are, or when we have not yet awakened to who we are, we suffer the consequences of the ignorance of the law. Because the law is always the law, is it not? The law is always the law. And so, being created in perfection, we are created in an infinite, limitless possibility and limitless freedom. But guess what that limitless freedom means? We have to discover it ourselves. We are free to discover it ourselves, because if we showed up on the planet already knowing or already aware or forced to be aware of the consciousness, then we actually would not be free. If we were compelled to know our freedom, we would actually not be free, because we are being compelled. So therefore, there's no freedom in that. Making sense? So our freedom is our ability to do or say or think and express ourselves as individualized expressions of the divine. We are free to express ourselves, but we are not free from the consequences of those deeds, words, and actions or beliefs, right? We're not free of that. We're not free from the consequences. There is the law of cause and effect. So that which we believe and that which we affirm and that which we act upon results in direct effects of what it is that we've been believing. So if we aren't happy with the way our life is looking like right now, and it doesn't have to be major, it could be little things, but where you are in this moment in your life is a direct reflection of everything that's come up to this point. So if you want something different moving forward, guess what has to happen? The belief has to change, the ideas have to change, the thought has to change. You have to set a new cause in motion, right? Otherwise, you're going to get more of the same. More of the same. And if you like what you're getting, kudos, good for you. But it could always be just a wee bit better, couldn't it? Just a little bit. Even the slightest iota, just a little bit. Right? So we have the freedom then to choose. We have free will to decide what it is we're going to believe, to decide what it is that we're going to think, to decide what it is that we're going to do. And even if we're not aware that we have this choice, that we have this freedom, Spirit, the law, still acts upon whether we believe we have a choice or not. Remember, the law works whether you believe the law works or not. Even if you believe the law doesn't work, the law works because it's demonstrating that the law doesn't work in your own mind. Right? Basic Science of Mind, chapter 4. Right? And what we're talking about here comes from chapter 6, which is freedom and bondage. 1 Peter 1:8. 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 1 Peter So when we tune into our experiences and we welcome the law and we shift these ideas, we shift our perspectives, then we get to enjoy the benefits of it. We get to enjoy the benefits because when we stop making a mistake, then the consequences of the mistake, or we stop being ignorant, the consequences of our ignorance also stop, right? Basic law of cause and effect. So our road to self-discovery it is necessary for us to move through the reality and the law of reality, right? So if in our ignorance we violate a law, then we have to suffer the consequences. And like I said, we cease to suffer when we comply with the universal law, when we comply with it, when we obey it, when we use it to our advantage, when we use it for a beneficial presence and purpose in our own lives and for the lives of those around us. So something here I want to warn against, that it's easy to look at this family who has been suffering great illnesses and great difficulties, and it's easy to say and to apply this by saying, well, what was in their consciousness that brought this on? What have they been thinking about? What have they been doing? What have they been believing that has caused so much anguish and so much agony and so much physical pain and suffering in this family? What's in their consciousness? We have to be careful, my beloveds, not to victim blame or shame others, because it's not necessarily their consciousness that brought it on. Don't forget that we live in a collective unconsciousness. There is what Ernest Holmes called race consciousness. And so we live in this collective unconsciousness that is also at work that we are not necessarily aware of. And remember that there is an infinite possibility. We live in a limitless possibility. So in a limitless possibility, dis-ease, discord, cancer, special needs, all of these things are a possibility within the infinite realm of possibilities, are they not? And so it doesn't necessarily mean that this family, thinking a certain way or believing a certain way, has brought all this on themselves. Nor is it like in Job's, where his friends were saying, well, you must have sinned, so this is punishment. It's not a punishment. There is a divine consequence, or there is a consequence for a misuse or an ignorance of law. But here's the beautiful part about this, is that we are at choice. So even when we are faced with challenges, like this family is, they're still at choice. Because you and I have free will. We all have free will. We are all at choice. We get to choose the meaning that we assign to our experiences. It doesn't mean our experiences aren't tragic. It doesn't mean that we don't experience trauma. It doesn't mean that we don't experience difficulties. What it does mean, though, is that we get to choose the meaning that we assign to it moving forward. We can allow it to restrict us. We can allow it to limit us. We can allow these things to make us smaller, to diminish us, we can begin to believe that we are not good enough, that we are unworthy, that we don't belong. We can make all these stories and all these beliefs. And remember, Spirit answers, Spirit provides, Spirit responds to what it is that we most deeply believe. Or what we can do is we can say, hey, yeah, I've had this experience. I'm going through this difficulty. I'm going through this challenge. I'm experiencing this health scare, whatever it is. And we can say, what's here for me? What's here for me? What can I learn from this experience? Where am I experiencing grace in this moment? Where can I be the presence of love in this moment? How can I stay curious and open up to a greater possibility than what is occurring right now? What is my opportunity to change what I've been thinking, to change what I've been believing, to see things in a new light or in a new way? Because this, my beloveds, is where your free will, the greatest freedom that we have, the greatest gift that we have, free will, enters into the picture. This is where you then wake up to a conscious use of your mind, which is one with the one mind, and you start to create a new reality for yourself because you have awakened through a negative experience. It has shown you the right use of law for the affirmative. Yes? So remember that your self-choice, your volition, your conscious mind personified, and you have the freedom and the power to back it up. We're responsible. I did a talk, I think, was it the first year that I was here? Wasn't it, Jeannie? It was like the first few months. The talk was 100%. And I asked you all, how much are you responsible for your life? 100%. How much are you responsible for your life? 100%. There's nobody else to blame. You don't blame yourself. There's nobody else to shame. There's no finger pointing. Remember, when you point one finger out, there's three pointing back at you, right? So who's responsible? We are responsible for our lives. And so when we step into that responsibility, when we take responsibility, we step out of the kingdom one consciousness or the to-me consciousness, the victim consciousness. Everything is happening to me. The world is against me. The universe is against me. It's trying to test me, right? We step out of that victim consciousness when we take responsibility and we step into creator consciousness. We step into the by me consciousness. That I have responsibility for my life. So I, using my mind, using my beliefs, using my spirituality, and using my physical body to take action, I can take responsibility for my life and I can create my life. I get to create. I get to decide. I get to choose what my experiences mean, and I get to decide what my experiences are. I get to choose. Because, beloveds, we are always co-creating with Spirit, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. We are always co-creating. Always co-creating. Ed talked about it in his invocation, about co-creation. But we are always co-creating. The difference when we take responsibility for that is we are now intentionally co-creating. We are using our free will. We are using our gift. We are using that with which we have been endowed to awaken for self-realization, for self-awareness, to then intentionally create and co-create that which we wish to experience and the world that we wish to live in. So in the email that I sent you guys this week, how many read the email? Ooh, yay, hands. I like it. Yay. So in the email I sent you this week, right, I said, I used a little dialogue there. I was like, well, knock on wood that this deal goes through. And then it's like, shh, the universe might be listening, right? Kind of scared that we're going to jinx it by speaking it out loud. In Hawaii, we call that bachi. Ooh, going to get bachi. Right? When we speak it out loud, we're afraid. But really, what is that when we do that, when we behave that way? What is it that we're actually affirming? We're actually affirming our doubt, that we don't really believe that this is really going to work. So let me knock on wood. Let me go to superstition. Let me knock on wood. And also, ooh, the universe might hear, in which case, Murphy's Law, if something bad's going to happen, it's going to. If something will happen or will go wrong, it will, right? Except technology. Anyway, but, right, that kind of thought, that kind of idea is a belief in a superstition. It's a belief that we really don't have control over anything, that we're at the whimsy of some big sky god that is capricious, that decides, hey, Ed, sure, today you're going to have a good day, but Marty, you're going to have a crappy one. And Cindy, we're going to leave you alone for today, but I've got my eyes on you for later. Right? There is no such God. God is not capricious. The universe is not capricious. The universe is consistent, and it is consistently kind, and is consistently working with us to create with us that which we put into the law. So the onus is not on the soil. The onus is not on spirit. The onus is on who? Us, the individual. We can live, we have choice how we want to live, how we want to experience life. But like I said, we're not free of the consequences of that choice. So choose wisely, my friends. Choose wisely. What is it that you wish to experience today, tomorrow, in this very minute? You have the power to create it. Remember, you have the power back of the freedom to create your life. So I ask you, like the 80s Wendy's commercial, where's the belief? Instead of where's the beef, where's the belief? Where's the belief? What is it that you are choosing to believe this day? What is it that you are choosing to know this day? And make it so. And so it is. So I invite you to go to tables, and we are going to look at these questions here. What do you do when you are faced with a challenge or an uncertainty? How could you face it better? And what belief is still holding you back? What's one of those little things that's back there like, still? What's one of those things that's holding you back? So head to tables, have a discussion, and we'll see you in about 20 minutes or so. So what I heard here is to continue to trust. And so there's been a theme here of continuing to trust that inner knowing, trust that inner guidance, allow it to guide, allow it to direct, and then take action upon that which has been revealed. Don't just sit and wait for Santa Claus to come and deliver you from the pain and suffering that you're experiencing, right? But there is that listen and then take action. Listen for that inner guidance and take action. So perfect. So this week, your assignment, your homework is the following. If this will open on my computer as well. So we're going to do the reframe triangle this week. And so you're going to move from action to possibility without denying the reality of the situation. So first, you're going to name the story. So ask yourself, what am I telling myself about the situation? So for example, I'm telling myself I failed, okay? Step 2, find the hidden invitation here. Ask, what might life be asking of me right now? So the example here is, it's asking me to learn a new skill, okay? Step 3, choose an empowering perspective. So complete this sentence. Another way of seeing this is, so an example is, another way of seeing this is, I didn't fail. I just discovered what doesn't work. Then ask yourself, if I believed that something good could emerge from this, what would I do next? The goal of positive reframing is not to pretend that pain, injustice, or disappointment are good. It is to recognize that we always have the power to choose the meaning we assign to our experiences, and that a new meaning can open up new responsibilities. So this is your practice this week, the reframe triangle. So I invite our practitioners and core council to please stand and surround the sanctuary space here. And let's come together in consciousness. I want to remind you that your practitioners are here for you. They are available for prayer. Don't forget that Ed is available for prayer down the hall after service. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of having somebody pray with you. And so our practitioners are always available to pray with you. They're here for your, to do spiritual guidance sessions with you as well. So take advantage of our practitioners, or take advantage of that opportunity. All right, so coming together in consciousness, recognizing that there is this one breath of life that is breathing itself in, through, and as all of creation. It is creating from within its own consciousness, from within its own wisdom, its own power, its own presence. It is creating all of life. Each and every one of us is a divine emanation, an impartation, an individualization of this one life. And God itself, Spirit itself, is freedom, perfection, and wholeness. So too are we free. We have the freedom of thought. We have the freedom of will. We have the freedom to choose. We have the freedom to co-create with this one, because there is only one mind, and our mind is one with this one mind. There is only one creative power in this universe, and we are an expression of it. Therefore, we have the capability to co-create anything and everything that we wish to experience in our lives and in the physical world. So what I know is that here and now, each one of us says yes to our greatest and highest good. Each one of us releases any fear that has been in the way, anything that has inhibited, that has been preventing us from living our greatest, living our most highest, fullest expression. We release it. We let it flow back into the nothingness from which it came. And we breathe new life. We breathe a new thought. We breathe a new idea into being, into a greater, fuller expression of our lives. And we do this individually, and we do this collectively for our beloved community, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. And in so doing, we also breathe this in, and we breathe new life when we breathe new ideas. We breathe a new way of being. We bring our love. to Gary, and to Marianne. We bring our love and our healing presence to Jeannie Smith, who is currently in a rehab facility recovering from dis-ease, an illness in her physical body. We lift her, we raise her as well in this high light of consciousness, knowing her perfection, knowing Marianne's perfection, knowing Gary's perfection, right here and right now. For each is one with the one, just as we are. And for this I do give thanks. I let it be, and so it is.
So it is.
I invite everybody to please stand and let's say this affirmation together. The universe is for me. Okay, so if the universe didn't hear you, you're like, ooh, I don't know, the universe might have heard that. Ah. So let own it. Here we go. The universe is for me. One more time. Yes, and so it is. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. There's this thing called love.
It is this thing called love.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my body.
Love is in my body.
Love is in everything I do.
Love is in everything I do.
I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here. Let's